Okay, so in this video, I'm going to show you how I've set up an automation that allows me to automatically respond to an incoming inquiry, add the data of that inquiry into a spreadsheet, create a draft email for me, and add a calendar appointment. Now, you might be wondering, well, why can't I just put a Calendly link so somebody could book a time in my calendar? Well, that doesn't work for every business, especially service-based businesses where there are variables that depend on whether you can service the inquiry or not. So in this example, I'm going to share a business that I own, which I don't talk about that often, which is a photo booth. Essentially, we can be hired for weddings, private parties, corporate events in the Lisbon area. And when an inquiry comes in, we have to check whether, one, we're available for it, if the location we can get to. Some locations are very close to us, others are further away, and therefore we need to factor in the price of the travel to that location or the venue. So there's a few different variables that mean that we can't automatically say yes to every inquiry that comes in. So I'm going to show you how I've automated as much as I can in this process so that it saves me time every time we get an inquiry. And this is what I encourage a lot of agency owners and service-based businesses to do, is not to automate the entire process, but automate as much as possible so you can then have a look at the inquiry or have a look at what you need to do, make a decision of whether you want to work with this client or you can work with this customer, and then go from there. So I'm going to be flipping between a few different screens here, but first of all, I just wanted to show you the website and how somebody makes an inquiry in the first place. So this is on the left, this is our homepage, and at the bottom, there is a form, and I've built this form using WordPress and Elementor as the page builder. Now, what's really good about the Elementor form builder here is that you have actions after submit. So when it comes to automations, you always have a trigger event and then you always have an action. There's sometimes a condition that sits in the middle, but for this case, we've got a trigger, which is a form has been submitted, and then we have actions. In this case, we've got we're going to collect the submission that comes through, and we just had an inquiry come in about 15 minutes ago, so it's really good that I can record this video now. And then we have email and email to, a webhook and a pop-up. I'm going to focus just on the two emails and the webhook. So first of all, the webhook is essentially a way of me sending the data from the inquiry to another destination. In this case, I've used Zapier to collect that information. So the trigger event is the form is filled and all of that data is sent to Zapier. Once it's in Zapier, I can do a lot with it, and I'll show you what I've set up in just a second. Then the second thing that I want to show you when it comes to the form builder is the two emails that we've got here. So the first email is to me. The email comes to my my specific email address for this company, and it just gives details about the submission. So if I click over here, we can see that we've got the information, which has all the details from the client, their contact details, their email, and the location, so that I know I can I can review this information, see if this date I'm available, and then reply back to the customer. The second email that automatically gets sent is to the client, the person who just filled out that form. And it's just a quick kind of like a placeholder email to say, thanks, we've received your inquiry. Here are all the details that you shared with us. And the next steps in the process is for us to jump on a 5 to 10 minute call to talk about logistics. So I want to make sure that the client immediately gets this email, and that's what I've got set up here. Because I may not be checking the email in live and in real time, and it might take me a few hours to reply. At least the person has received that initial email to know that we've received their booking inquiry. So let's take a look at Zapier. We've got the webhook here, so that's that data coming into Zapier. And then I have a number of steps. The first thing I want it to do is put all of that information into a spreadsheet. Now, I could use a CRM for this, but I find that because the different events have so many different logistics, looking at it in a spreadsheet is just much more simple. And also, this is a very small business just between myself and my partner, and having a spreadsheet, which is much easier accessible than us having to log into a CRM. Of course, if you're an agency or a service-based business and you're a bigger team, a CRM might be more appropriate. But for me and for us, a spreadsheet is absolutely fine. Then I want it to create a calendar appointment in my calendar so I can see when that event is going to take place, and then if I have anything that's conflicts with that event. And then I also want to create a draft email in Gmail that I can send back to the person once I've had a chance to review their details and review their information. So here's just a quick look at the spreadsheet here, and we can see that we've got the submission in here. So Pedro, it's a wedding, it's on the 18th of May 2024, so Pedro is planning ahead. The event starts at 5 p.m. I haven't got an end time because that varies. And again, this is another reason why we may need to check and have conversations with our customers before saying, yes, we can do this booking or we can do this event. I've got the venue, location, and any notes there. There wasn't any additional notes, how many guests and what package they selected. Now, all of this information is taken from the form here. So it's just essentially taking all of the inputs and putting it into the spreadsheet here. And then I have deposit paid, full amount paid, status. So these are stuff that we need to look at and update as we have conversations with these customers. So that is the second step in the automation. But now I want to see what it looks like in my calendar. So if I just open it up here, I've gone to May 2024, and I can see that we've got the placeholder in the calendar. So now I can see it's from 5. Typically it's a 4-hour rental, so I've got that automatically adding into 11. And of course I can change this closer to the time. It might be that Pedro wants us to be there an hour before to set up, or they want us to stay for longer, but I don't know that yet until I have that conversation with the customer. So that's the third step in the automation. And then create a draft in Gmail. So I want to reply to Pedro now. I'm not going to do that while I'm recording the video, but I want to reply to him to say, yes, we are available. We can do that location. But the next step is to have a few calls, a conversation. So there's lots of information that I need to find out from Pedro to decide what the total quote would be. It could be the customization of the photo booth. It could be that he wants props or whatever it may be. I need to have that conversation. So if I just quickly go into my inbox, go into my drafts, I can see that I've got this draft email ready to go, and I can make any sort of amendments to this email before I send it off. Again, I couldn't automate this completely because I need to take a look at this process before. I need to take a look at the information before I send that email off to the client. So if your service-based business or your agency can't take immediate bookings for calls or for quotes, then this is a way that you can automate the majority of the process and then just save that manual work for you to do, but making it easier by having a draft email already ready to go. So I just have to make a couple of changes, saving me minutes at a time. But over every day, every week, every month, you're removing all of this manual admin that you would have to do by using automation with Zapier. Cheers.